Minister, thanks for those clarifications. Nigerians want to see food prices go down. When we talk about some of the big steps that the government has taken that are yielding dividends, they don't want to listen. They are concerned about rising food prices, and no one appears to be ready to step in and stop the sometimes arbitrary increase in food prices. What is the government doing to bring down food prices at this time? And then secondly, we've seen two African countries now, Egypt and Ethiopia, floating their currency. Why are African leaders going along this route when it is a big driver of inflationary spike?
Well, thank you. I believe I had two questions. What can we do to bring down
food prices?
Food prices.
Yes.
And then why the African countries floating exchange rates? Yeah. On the food prices, just like I said earlier, our food situation was a reflection of many factors. Ever since COVID, the world economy was affected by free flow of inputs. Energy prices have affected inputs. We had flooding. We had the challenges of insecurity, because even while it is abating, the courtesy of the commendable effort of all our security agencies, but because of fear, many places confidence had not yet returned. And in addition, we have the currency redesign, which affected a whole cropping season, because of absence of liquidity affected farming activity in particular, as well as the fact that 2003 was a transition year. The Russia-Ukraine war has affected global food prices, have affected the trade in goods. So these cumulative effects were not an island, but a multiplicity of actions that the President has spoken about, intervention to ensure that the agricultural sector is supported. Not only farmers, a lot of support is going to farmers, 2 million bags of fertilizer, among other interventions, are being distributed to all the states to support farming communities. The strategic storage, grains from strategic storage were distributed in order to lower food prices, in addition to additional distribution of food to both states and directly into the market, so as to lower prices, as well as the gains that are being made already in this wet season, because in most part of the country, the wet season farming is going on strongly, and we are already hearing stories about prices responding downwards in connection with the wet season. Equally, Mr. President have announced the creation of a livestock ministry, which is another component of the agricultural sector that we believe we can do more about. So these gains will be sustained. A National Agricultural Development Fund has been put in place. A number of approvals have been given for the importation and assembly of mechanical items, including tractors, that will support agricultural production, to the extent that we believe our agricultural production will expand. But let us also keep in mind that there is a structural issue, because the agricultural system that we require to feed 230 million people is different from that which is required to feed 119 million people that we were 25 years ago. So transformation, and this goes to the issue of the renewed hope agenda. We need to transform. We need to produce food differently. We need to support our agricultural sector with fast-yielding, higher-yielding seedlings and production methods. We have to drive production efficiency. So these measures shall be sustained, and food prices, we believe, will gradually continue and continuously be coming down, because even our inflation, the main contributing factor is food inflation. So this will also impact on inflation and indeed the exchange rate. Related to that is the question, why are African countries floating exchange
currencies?
And yesterday, just over the last 3 days, African finance ministers and central bank governors were in Abuja for an African Caucus meeting, which is the first of its type that took place in our country, where the African Caucus of the World Bank, meaning all the finance ministers and central bank governors, met and deliberated on Africa-specific issues. And speaker after speaker, they all acknowledge the challenge that Africa faces. We are facing combination of difficulties. The industrialized world is not as generous with credits or in terms or in both quantity and pricing that will help us fund our development. The needs are growing all across Africa. Most of Africa, there are challenges that are similar to those that are being faced in Nigeria. A young population that is desirous of taking on the world, but we have to find the resources for them. We have to create the enabling environment for them. We have to give them the skill set. Most African countries do not have the foreign exchange to fund these dreams. So, not because they like it, but they have to take measures that can ensure sustainability, thus floating the exchange rate, which may lead to temporary initial pains, but in the long run will help put the economies on a pedestal. And that, again, is a lesson for our young ones to know that we are even relying upon them because of their access to information much more than us, to know that global challenges are affecting every country. And if we pretend that they do not exist and get angry rather than finding innovative ways of solving them, we will be harming our economy and other economies will be prospering. I have said on a number of occasions that politicians like to be held, but a responsible politician will lead and encourage and convince the populace, let's take the difficult measure that will lead to a greater tomorrow. And our president has done that.
Honorable Minister,